Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran and patch 8.3 is right around the corner. As of making this video, patch 8.3 is literally a week away. Just 7 days awaiting, and then the patch will be here with all the different content, maybe some class changes that we're looking forward to, but so much content, so much to do, and a lot of people are pretty excited. From time to time, whenever we are just chilling in stream, hanging out, talking about patch 8.3 or even Shadowlands, sometimes people come by the stream to ask me if patch 8.3 is something worth coming back to. Maybe they played the game in patch 8.2, or maybe they played the game at some point beginning of BFA, maybe some of the rocky starts, or maybe they've been playing Classic for the longest, but now that they've done all the raids in Classic, got the PvP grind done, and are bored of that, they want to get back to the game. Is it worth getting back to patch 8.3? In this video, I want to give you guys my reasons as to why you should get back to 8.3. Now, this video isn't going to be something where I really go into the meta of the game. You know, the meta when talking about, let's say, the end game stuff all the time, like top tier raids, and if you're trying to be, let's say, rank 1 world first mythic boss kill for Azeroth, or if you're trying to be some of the best mythic plus players, or if you're trying to get into the game and be the best top tier gladiator you can be in the arenas. I'm not going to be talking about the game in the meta perspective, but rather from a generalized perspective. Is there anything to do? Is the content fun to do? Are the raids and maybe even the theme of the expansion or this last patch of the expansion are looking like something you want to get into? I think it's too easy to just tell somebody, oh, just do every bit of content at the highest difficulty and then you truly have experienced the expansion. Instead, I wanted to give a slightly different perspective on some of the other things someone might truly enjoy out of this brand new patch. The patch 8.3, first of all, is going to be a fresh slate for a lot of people. If you're someone who felt that you fell behind on the item levels of your neck, the essences that you wanted to grind for your character, maybe even on gear and certain trinkets. With this brand new patch, this is going to be a clean slate for everybody. This will be the perfect time for anyone to really sink their teeth deep into the new content, as the item level resets are going to be happening where everybody will be farming new content, which will allow you to jump item level to equivalents of people that have been playing the game. And to catch up to everybody else should be much easier. If there was ever a class you wanted to try out or swap to a whole nother spec, this new patch would be a perfect opportunity for you guys to kind of start anew. Even the Essence system, which some of you guys might not even interacted before because you didn't play patch 8.2, Essence system is going to be introduced to you slowly with this new patch, and the requirements to how to unlock these essences, particularly for new players, are a lot easier to get into. So if you're someone who wants to dedicate a lot of time onto one character or multiple alts, the essences should be a little bit less of a bother than what most of us had to go through. Then of course there's the new Mythic Plus season, which is going to have more gear with a little bit more guarantee of better quality of gear for the harder keys that you run into. A brand new PvP season with all the gear upgrades from that part. The Mechagon dungeon is coming back as more of relevant content. It's going to be broken up into 2 dungeons for the Mythic Plus season, but also the gear from the Mechagon dungeon, the Mechagon trinket you have gotten if you've done the Mechagon introduction, all that stuff is going to become relevant all over again. So if you are worried about falling too far behind or not having enough tools to catch up to everybody, this patch is going to have the most amount of tools for anybody just getting back into the game. The Azeroth element of the expansion does feel kind of cool. Azeroth invasions are actually kind of deadly. If you remember going to Argus the first time back in Legion, you probably would have found out that, hey, this zone, everything here kind of hits hard. It finally makes you feel like, wow, my character can actually legit die if I pull too many mobs way too quickly. And this is an awesome upgrade from going through the game and fighting all these mobs that don't really ever feel threatening to you. But now they do, because with all these invasions and all these different events, you are going to want to pair up with other people in order to tackle these different objectives and kill these rares. And it's actually kind of refreshing to have this threat. I mean, nothing else would suffice when you're facing one of the old gods, Azeroth himself. If you're a huge fan of this whole shadowy atmosphere and tentacles everywhere and love this Lovecraftian thing, then you're gonna love just about every bit of content that has any of this corrupted elements from the old god, whether it is in a brand new raid or in some of the content. The new raid of Azeroth offers 12 different bosses for us to fight. That's a lot of bosses and a lot of different fights to experience. All those fights come in different difficulties, so you can only imagine how these fights are going to be looking like at the end game when you're trying to get them done on Mythic. especially with the final fight for Azeroth, which is rumored to have an extra phase just for Mythic players. The whole zone and the environment behind it, the art style, it's really cool. It's something new that World of Warcraft is trying for the whole old god feel, and it's very, very enjoyable. It's very pleasing to the eyes, and I love the creative side that Blizzard has been going into when delving into Neolotha. Mechagon is another dungeon that we're going to be seeing, and I'm actually super excited. I mentioned it earlier, but Mechagon is such a cool theme to this whole mecha gnome, gnomish type of tinkering, engineering type of environment. And it's a very refreshing dungeon with some cool boss mechanics, and I can only imagine just how much those mechanics are going to get enhanced when you dive into the Mythic Plus version of those dungeons. Of course, if you're someone who's a huge fan of collecting stuff, you have collectibles from transmogs, mounts, rares that you'll be able to kill for various toys, but also 2 new allied races being added into the game. Some of them having racials that really do impact the gameplay of whether you play Alliance or Horde. So there's going to be extra things for players to do if you're someone who does like grinding a bunch of allied races. If you purchase Shadowlands, then you'll be able to play as brand new allied race Death Knights, and they even got extra customization options like different eyes to give a more deathly spectral look, rather than look like there's a flashlight right in front of their eyeballs. But to be able to finally play a Volpera Death Knight or Kultiran Death Knight, or if you want to go and be that guy, you could play a Pandaren Death Knight if you wanted to. Adding more allied races for Death Knights, especially with the upcoming Shadowlands expansion, is something that you guys can prepare for. If you do want to play a Death Knight and want to play the full fantasy of the best DK you've ever wanted to play, this is a perfect opportunity to jump on this boat right now and enjoy in patch 8.3. We also got a different upgrade system with gear, so if you're someone who hated the RNG aspect of the game, instead now pieces of gear are going to be corrupted. Corruption doesn't always guarantee an upgrade for a piece of loot, but depending on the corruption, depending on how severe the corruption is, the corruptions offer with a beneficial effect, but also for a negative offset. So trying to find a balance between the positive effects and the negatives that go into your character and how they affect you in terms of combat experience is kind of cool. And it's going to give you a little bit more thought process in terms of, is a piece of gear with corruption an automatic upgrade compared to just getting massive item level out of Titan Forging. Even if you're not a fan of any kind of group content, there is going to be something for you to do as a solo player. Imagine if the WoW Legion Mage Tower was an instance, and you could choose to make this instance harder and delve further into that instance, killing various mini-bosses, and then finally culminating into a final boss fight. As the patch reveals itself, we'll get far more information on these, but they're called Horrific Visions. They'll be part of the content that you'll be doing regularly as a part of upgrading your gear on a week-by-week basis instead of grinding your necklace the whole time. And they'll also offer players ability to either have a solo challenge or challenge with a limited group of friends, and between 1 to 5 people is going to be enough. And it offers you a slightly varied experience every time you do it. It also allows you to really push the limits of the group compositions and the difficulty of these Horrific Visions. Think of them as dungeons without really certain boss rotation, allowing you to choose how easy you want to have the instance to be or how difficult. So if you're someone who wants to have some difficulty out of the game, but you never really found yourself to be the kind of person to want to look for raids or guilds, this can be a perfect opportunity for people to really challenge themselves in this new patch. Now, of course, when you play a new patch of World of Warcraft, when you're trying to grind to be the very best at any bit of content, or just simply be the very best at your class, that can have an infinite progression cycle to it. But I wanted to give you guys other reasons as to why you might want to try the patch 8.3. It gives you ability to start anew and start fresh. Check out the brand new content, check out the art style, maybe even interact with some of the boss fights. And this could be the opportunity for you guys to finally really sink your teeth and really get hardcore with the game. Patch 8.3 is coming out in a week, and if you want to start preparing for patch 8.3, right now would be a really good time to log on the game, decide which character you want to play, maybe grind out a few essences that are fairly easy to get, and just simply prepare yourself for the brand new patch Tuesday or Wednesday, depending if you are NA or EU. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been my video on reasons why you should check out patch 8.3, and I'll see all of you guys in another video.